doctorarjaybe here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about heat illness. Um, now, when I'm doing this video, originally it's actually in July, so we're having to deal with the heat that we get at this time of year. And got to be careful when you're outside in temperatures that are relatively high. Um, Once temperatures get above 80, you got to really be careful being outdoors. It's possible to still do things, but you got to take your precautions. The biggest issue with heat problems is dehydration. When you have a very hot day, you tend to sweat a lot. Eventually, you can get to the point where you lose enough water that your body stops sweating. At that point, your temperature is going to raise. So the first problem with heat illness is something that we call heat fatigue or heat prostration. And this is a condition where basically the heat has affected you. You're kind of dehydrated. You're feeling very tired. As long as at this point you get out of the sun, come inside with the air conditioning, drink a lot of fluids, you should be fine. The more serious problem with the heat is something called heat stroke. This is where somebody basically passes out from the heat and they're in a serious condition. If they don't get the body temperature down quickly and uh, pour in lots of fluids, the person can actually pass away. There have been cases in the football industry in college sports where football players had been working out in the heat in their full gear um, and were not allowed to take water breaks and passed out and died from heat problems. Number of lawsuits have been filed against colleges who did not allow proper care in taking care of the student athletes. Um, and it can happen even in professional sports. It's nothing about college in particular. We've seen situations where people basically wound up collapsing on the field, fainting on the field, had to be taken to the medical tent, given some fluids right away to protect them. And of course, it's one of the reasons why at halftime the players drink a whole bunch of Gatorade trying to hydrate themselves before they go back out on the field. Um, this is another thing, too, by the way. Gatorade was made with the same formula as sweat. It contains sodium and potassium, which are in sweat. And these are electrolytes that are lost when we sweat a lot. So you can be deficient in either potassium or sodium, and Gatorade has been used to replace that. They also have a little bit of sugar in there, too, to give you a little bit of energy. This was originally developed at the University of Florida, whose team is called the Florida Gators, and that's why it's called Gatorade. They found this formula by checking the sweat of the student athletes, found out that it was deficient, it was high in potassium and sodium, realized they had to replace this, and they gave it to the football team. Football team won a lot of championships until somebody figured out, hey, these guys are drinking Gatorade. We need to get some of that stuff too. And then the playing field was evened out. Um, so electrolytes are important. Fluid is important. Beyond everything else, though, fluid is number one. If you're dehydrated, everything else doesn't count. You can take all the salt you want, but if you're not taking in fluids, it's not going to help you. So make sure you get plenty of fluids. And if you don't like Gatorade, you can also have diluted fruit juice. Fruit juice also contains sodium and potassium. So diluted fruit juice is also another way that you can get your fluids in and get some electrolytes. Okay, so I hope this helps. And like I said, I've been saying, check out my other videos.